It's time for ACC Central, presented by Just Means Less.
I drive into right. It's enough. It's back. And it's gone for the cycle. It's a walk-off grand slam. Florida State wins it.
Hosted by Monty Taylor.
In the air, center field. Moore is under it. And on to Omaha for the Cardinals.
Micah Butel.
Fly ball driven into left field. Spin. Does he do it? He does. A walk-off homer by Ken Smith.
And Nick Dioli.
Gets it down. Here comes Mac. He is safe. And Boston College wins.
Fastball off the plate for 2 balls, 2 strikes. Monty just got landed on.
There are 2 pigeons roosting right above me, and my can of Pepsi
Smacked into right field. And a
Welcome back to another episode of ACC Central. I'm Monty Taylor. Joining me today, Nick Dioli, Micah Butel. We are previewing the Florida State Seminoles, and I just realized, watching that intro video again, that for some reason my name comes first, even though technically I believe alphabetically Micah should be going first with his name in the intro, but I somehow didn't realize that because it's the same order I did all of last year. Never noticed that I put myself first in the order there, but nobody else has complained, so it is what it is. Nick, Micah, how we doing, boys? No,
Nick doesn't want to say anything. Okay, I'm doing great.
For those listening on the podcast, we got thumbs up all around.
Well, I was doing this. I was trying to open, to Nick here because for some reason, I don't know why Nick is in the middle. It feels very unnatural that our stream is set up this way. But, there we go. We switched it. So I was letting Nick, that's Monty, Nick, Micah, just kind of flow naturally. But, it's okay. It's okay. We're here. We are wearing I'll say it, most beautiful color scheme in our conference, the garnet and gold. And Monty understood the assignment with the gold. We're going their Sunday golds today. Shout out to that podcast, by the way. Great Florida State podcast. Love what they do. But I'm excited to deep dive Florida State, a team that feels like they're just knocking on the door again. Monty, they're just knocking on the door again.
Yeah, what's interesting is I think they're going to be really good. I'm surprised how many people are still putting them top 10 with some of the concerns they might have. I definitely have them top 15, but I'm not mad about the love they're getting, and the more we talk about it, I think you guys will agree that they're not overrated or anything. I think I'm just playing a little bit safer with some of the concerns I have with what they're losing. But Florida State obviously fell within a game of Omaha last year. Just ran into some trouble out in Corvallis with the Oregon State Beavers. Just a great baseball team out there, and just couldn't quite get the job done. But Florida State gave us some great memories. ACC Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, Alex Lodise. That's 2 FSU Players of the Year in a row. Could we have a third? But Nick, Micah, you guys want to share anything about last season before we dive into the departures?
I mean, obviously disappointing finish, right? But I mean, that's one of those things where, again, that was a weird situation away. I mean, Corvallis, I would argue, might be one of the toughest spots an ACC team would have to go for a super regional, just considering the travel that comes with that, the incredible fan base that is Oregon State. And it might be the only place when you're playing in late May where if you're playing at night, it is a little bit chilly. So, that's an interesting place to go play. But, if you're Florida State, right, that's what's crazy is that they've had 2 incredible back-to-back seasons. And, again, 1 win from Omaha. If that's a disappointment, your program's doing something right. So,
yeah, I think, unfortunately, Florida State was the only team I did not get to see in person from the ACC. But just keeping track of them all year was, I mean, a hell of a ride, first of all. And yeah, I mean, one win away from Omaha. That game 3 was just absolutely brutal. I think, we talk about how Carolina last year was probably the best team to not make Omaha. Florida State's right there behind them. Like, they were inches. Like, both teams had players that were competing for National Player of the Year. Both teams had players or pitchers that were competing for Pitchers of the Year. Yeah, FSU, as long as Link Jarrett is at the helm, man, the roster really doesn't bother me a whole lot. And I like this roster. I like what they're bringing in. But from last year, the Lodis story, the Lodis cousins was a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm genuinely very, very excited to see what FSU has to bring this year.
We're going to be talking about both Lodises over the next 2 days, tonight and tomorrow with Kyle. But don't worry, Lodi bombs and Lodis is still around because there is Kyle's younger brother is set to be the starter potentially at UCF. So there is a Lodi still in college baseball. He might be the starter at UCF as a freshman, non-ACC, but there's time. No,
ACC should have brought in UCF. That way we can have the trio of Lodi.
But let's bring up there we go. I was trying to figure out, it was saying it was already up, but it wasn't. Here we go. We got our key departures there. All right. So the second year in a row, one of the things I loved about Florida State is they had the Cam Smith, James Tibbs, Marco Dingus, I'm forgetting Jamie Farrer. That's who I was forgetting. That kind of core, and then you immediately had the guys who are role players in Lodis and Williams and Farrow step up, and now they're going to have to do the same thing for a third year in a row. I'm curious to see how that rolls out. But there's the losses there. Obviously, Jackson West didn't have the season he wanted. Evan Crest was injured a lot of it. Not listed on here is Cam Leiter, who never threw a pitch last year. Basically was supposed to miss a couple weekends in April of 2024. Never pitched again for Florida State. But that's the look at the roster, the departures there. Not a ton of guys transferring out that are going to be big misses. James Hankerson got some playing time, but probably doesn't have a space there. And obviously these other guys, Connor Holtz, Joe Charles, those guys graduated, but everyone else drafted. If everyone up above that list, so they had 10 draft picks there.
Yeah, you lose stud. I'm just grading down the list. Like, yep, he's going to be missed. He's going to be missed. Like, again,
that's what's interesting is I think people are just so confident in Link and what he's able to do that I think they're giving him a little bit more benefit of the doubt than they might if this was a different coach, because they're just assuming, like, they do have dudes that can step up for sure, but I think it's a foregone conclusion that they will. So let's take a look at some of the additions as well. I'll throw that up on the screen. Braden Dowd, USC. Eli Putnam, who is, I believe, his 6th year in college, but that kid just rakes. Another A10 guy. That's the theme of this preseason talk. And then, JUCOs, but what they really needed was bullpen help, and look at those arms.
Yeah, they definitely got some dudes out to help fill some of that bullpen gap. Obviously, some names we're familiar with, the Gabe Nard and the Bryson Moore from Virginia. So really excited what Florida State was kind of able to fill in that spot.
Yeah, who do you think, now that you see the key newcomers and knowing what they have, who do you think they end up missing the most on the left side of the screen there? I think it's kind of an easy call, but
yeah. I mean, I think it's the starting pitching. So, I mean, you can go Jamie Arnold, I think, is the clear cut here. I mean, you don't see a ton of starters on this right-hand side. And I mean, yeah, you have some guys you're comfortable with stepping into those roles. We'll get to that in a minute, but it's not like you have a proven Friday night or Saturday night guy coming in that you know of, right, Monty? Am I missing something?
Trey Beard's a USA guy, Friday night guy from FAU.
Yeah, but FAU. I'm gonna I'm just gonna hold for a second, Monty. Like,
that's fine.
Proven. Like, again, we're talking about the ACC here. Like, we're doing other team previews, right? We're going to get to Georgia Tech. We know, like, Louisville. Like, we kind of know what they look like against ACC competition. Trey Beard is a stud, but again, we'll see. We will see.
Yeah. I thought it was more obvious. I love that you went in a different direction, went with the starting pitching there, and highlighted something different than I was seeing, because I thought it was really obvious that the big miss is going to be Alex Lodis, because we don't even really know who's going to play shortstop for Florida State right now. They have some options. I have some guys in there. I think it's going to be possibly Gabe Frazier. Obviously, Cal Fisher could shift over there. We don't know. But Nick, what about you? Are you on board with me? It's going to be Alex Lodis, or are you on board with Micah and his starting pitching call?
I mean, Micah brings up a good point, because I personally think that this could be the weakest part of this Florida State team is their starting pitching. I mean, you're only bringing back Wes Mendez. If you look at the projected starting pitchers, kind of high ERAs, and some guys didn't have a lot of time. I love the bullpen, but, just to say his name, of course, Alex Lodis. I mean, I think that's kind of huge. Player of the year. I mean, what are we talking about? He's phenomenal. They'll miss him greatly, but I'm still very confident that it's kind of plug and play at this point for Link Jarrett and the boys.
Yeah, and once again, a really good recruiting class. Let's get into the pitching staff. Micah expressed some concerns in regards to the starting pitching. I have a feeling, I threw John Abraham on here, but I think John Abraham's going to be more of a bullpen ace, long relief type. But I really actually like this. The big thing here for me is Bryson Moore's health. When he was healthy, which was a big if at Virginia, he was very, very good. Unfortunately, just wasn't able to always stay healthy. That's somebody I'm a big fan of in terms of the health of the Virginia, or the former Virginia transfer. But Peyton Manka, to me, is a huge breakout potential star. I think he could get the nod midweeks. He's a guy who had a great summer on the Cape in a starting role. But yeah, those are the rotation options I have initially here.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's not a bad rotation option, right? Oh, look at Monty showing us his desktop. Big
I know, I messed up.
Here. But no,
I was hoping I wouldn't have to do that.
Like Monty, I'm sorry, when you put that up on my screen, that's where I feel like Jamie Arnold and Joey Vellini missing. Again, those are guys that we think can take step forward, but that's our question, right? Are they going to? I mean, Mendez, for example, had a 5.4 ERA. If that's your Friday night guy, I mean,
I actually have him as the Saturday guy. I have Trey Beard as the Friday.
Trey Beard's your Fridays, and you're putting a AAC transfer into your Friday night role, which again, Trey Beard has the accolades with Team USA and the ability, right? We think he can step in and be that, but is he going to be Jamie Arnold? I don't know. That's hard. That's tough shoes to fill. And then Wes Mendez on the Saturday, again, it's just this feels like the Florida State rotation coming into the year is at least a step back from last year. So that's where, again, we're talking about this Florida State team as in a national championship contender. We're not talking about is Florida State good enough to make the NCAA tournament? Yes, this team is going to make the NCAA tournament. But if we're talking national championship, I don't know.
But you watched Wes Mendez a lot last year to know he's better than a 5.42 ERA.
I would 100% agree. But again, we're replacing Jamie Arnold. We're
I know. I'm just
we're talking about key departures.
I will say
that's where this whole thing lies. It's not they're not good. It's you're trying to replace these S tier, A tier starters with guys that were more so B tier last year. Or again, a Trey Beard who's stepping up into a level of competition, which I think he'll be good, but you just don't know.
Here's Beard's stats, by the way: 15 starts, 7-1, 3.14 ERA, 118 strikeouts in 86 innings, just 32 walks. That's pretty good. But yeah, no, it's a good point. But I don't think they necessarily have to be Joey Vellini or Jamie Arnold with the better, deeper bullpen. But I will say I was editing this slide deck, and I didn't have Joey Vellini in my starting role. I had him in the rotation options, but he was towards the bottom. So he was a bit of a surprise last year. I completely forgot that he was a bit of a surprise. We knew he had a chance to start. We had no idea he was going to put up those kind of numbers. And that might be part of what Micah Posey is able to do as the pitching coach. But Nick, talk to me about the rotation here, what you see here, and help me talk Micah into them they're fine. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, it is a couple of guys with some high ERAs and some guys that are going to be seeing some ACC play for the first time. Look, I think to when I was doing my research, yeah, this is going to be, I think, the weakest part of Florida State this year. Not to say that, what Micah said, Florida State's not going to make the NCAA tournament. I think they're going to make Omaha this year. I think these guys are just going to have to grind it out. They're going to have to figure out a way where they have to win games with the bullpen, with some great at-bats, and kind of hope your starting pitching can go, 5 strong innings. I think that's kind of the secret recipe here. Just get some guys to go 4 or 5 innings, 2 to 3 runs, and that's it. And I think you're playing pretty competitive. It's hard to replace Vellini and Jamie Arnold. They were 2 studs. But I think Wes Mendez is going to surprise some people. He's been in the program. You look to see you would like to see some improvement going into your junior year. I think Mendez can take that role.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to throw up the other things here. Now they went out and got proven power 4 arms, talking about Brody Purcell out of USC, Cole Stokes out of Oregon, Gabe Nard out of Duke. He just joined the team this semester. He finished up his degree at Duke in the fall. But he's a proven guy, not the best numbers overall last year, but a guy that can go in and get outs. I mean, he did throw 50.2 innings out of the bullpen, which is a lot for, a non-closer reliever, I feel like. Brody Purcell, though, is a guy that I'm really big on. 2.11 ERA for USC. That was a tournament team last year. But you're looking at it, you got Ben Barrett, who's finally truly completely healthy for the first time in 3 years. You got Chris Nyer back, Rhett Vaughn, a redshirt freshman, Cato Leary, who's a high upside guy that doesn't have a ton of experience at the collegiate level, but just a sophomore coming over from Mississippi State. What are you guys seeing here? Do you think the bullpen is deeper than it was a year ago? Now, remember, based on the projections, John Abraham slides over and makes that reliever, the bullpen, a little bit deeper there.
Yeah, I mean, I think this bullpen is incredible. I mean,
yeah,
Brody Purcell and Cole Stokes are 2 of the biggest pickups in the ACC in the transfer portal. I mean, those are 2 incredibly high leverage bullpen arms coming from the Big Ten.
Obviously, which is something they were missing last year.
Correct. I mean, last year it was kind of the opposite, right? You didn't want to go to the bullpen with Florida State. Now it's like, again, I just talked about my concerns with the starting rotation. Like, if Wes Mendez can give you 5 innings, I feel, and you're winning when he leaves, I feel pretty good Florida State's going to win that ball game. So again, it's a little bit of a change from maybe what last year was for Florida State, and that's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, what Cole Stokes brings from Oregon, what Brody Purcell brings from USC. I didn't mix up the 2 schools, right? I nailed that, Monty.
You nailed that.
Yeah, like those are 2 guys. I mean, Cole Stokes was the best reliever on that USC team, a team that was fringe NCAA tournament.
Now you messed it up.
Did I mess it up now?
Yep, you messed it up.
Yeah, you said he was Oregon.
Yep.
Cole Stokes was Oregon.
Oh no, you said
USC.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant to say Brody Purcell. I'm sorry, I was not.
Yeah. Brody Purcell, USC.
You're right. I mixed up the names. But I was like, wait, what?
You were nailing it until you were nailing it until then.
Yeah, I know. I overthought it eventually, but that's okay. You know what I meant. I mean, again, this is just a unit that is going to be really, really good. And again, like we know what Gabe Nard's capable of. We know, if it makes sense, right, for Bryson Moore to come out of the bullpen per se instead of maybe be that starter. You've got another arm that I feel comfortable with. Again, John Abraham being like that long reliever if you need it is a great, like probably that best, 4 or 5 inning long reliever guy we've got in this conference, or one of the best. You have reasons to be excited. Again, we have 2 good freshmen that I think Micah Posey will do a really good job of developing.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, the lack of left-handed options when you have that rotation with Manka, Mendez, and Beard in there, all those left-handed options, you're kind of limited. So you got 2 JUCO guys that I haven't heard too much about and threw them on there just because otherwise I'm hoping that they'll get some run because they need some lefties in the bullpen. That could be interesting to see if they pull back. Obviously Mendez and Beard are in the rotation, but maybe that's a reason you don't have Manka be a starter, maybe because you need that left-handy out of the bullpen. But yeah, I'm psyched about this relief corps, especially if Ben Barrett is healthy and usable.
Yeah, and Cato O'Leary from Mississippi State is someone too that he didn't do a lot, obviously, while he was at Mississippi State. He only had 2 appearances, I think, all season. But I remember when I was there actually during the spring for that Florida series, I was talking to, I can't remember who it was. It was somebody around the program, one of their higher end donors. I was talking about the potential of what he had. You know, he just kind of wasn't necessarily clicking. They were getting a little concerned they weren't going to see much from him. But if he ends up being what, you know, if you look at some of his high school stuff, what he was kind of projected to be, which I think Micah Posey, again, is very good at getting the best out of the kids he works with. He could be someone that can end up being like, maybe not the Joey Vellini, like sneaky becoming a starter, but like sneaky important arm that we maybe didn't talk about much this preseason.
Yeah. Nick, what are your thoughts here?
I love this bullpen. And I think Brody Purcell is going to be a stud this year. I mean, if you compare his innings and ERA to everybody else, he has the 3rd most innings pitched with the lowest ERA. And like, it's not far off like his innings pitched. He has 48 innings. I think Gabe Nard has 60, I want to say it was. But a 2.11 ERA, he's seen some dudes. I think he's going to be a huge leader in this bullpen. And we know what Gabe Nard is like. We know we already talked about Cole Stokes. I think this bullpen is hands down just fantastic. Absolutely. I think this is the best part of Florida State, this bullpen. They did phenomenal in the portal. Phenomenal.
Absolutely, and they needed to. I mean, Connor Holtz and Joe Charles are great, but they were also battling injuries all last year. I remember Connor Holtz didn't pitch as much as we would have liked, and he was supposed to be like kind of that bullpen ace, and that kind of hurt them a little bit. But yeah, I'm big on this, and here's a look at how that, you know, the potential pitching staff might look with Wes Mendez there in the Saturday role, Trey Beer on the Friday, Bryson Moore in a Sunday, Peyton Manka in a midweek, and then there's your guys. I got Brody Purcell in there as the relief ace, but man, that bullpen looks nice because Chris Neyer was somebody who was depended on for a lot of key leverage innings. Now all of a sudden you're moving him down to, you know, the 5th or 6th option in the bullpen. You're on mute, Micah.
Oh no, I fell for it. Darn it. I didn't want to do it. I knew it when I set it up. I was 2 for 2 today, and there's 2 for 3. There's the strikeout. I knew it was coming eventually. No, I mean, it's one of those things where it's gonna be different than last year. Last year, Florida State was kind of like not that you didn't trust your bullpen, but you really were hoping to get 7-8 innings out of your starters. Like you needed your guys to go long. Now, I mean, obviously, you still want them to go long, so you have like on Saturday and Sunday, you've got a plethora of arms to pull from. But you feel comfortable knowing that if you leave again the 5th inning on a Friday night, like Trey Beer doesn't have his best stuff, he only goes 5. But if you're up 3-2, you feel pretty good about the spot you're in with the bullpen you have, and that's again key if you're trying to make a deep run into the postseason.
Absolutely. Feeling pretty good about this staff now, Nick?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think, you know, get some good innings and let the bullpen take over. I think that's the key to start off this season. Absolutely.
All right. Now we're going to talk about the lineup because they've got some dudes that are coming back. Let's take a look. I'm going to just bring them all up here. I will say, based on Link's press conference from a couple of, I guess this time it's a couple weeks ago, Hunter Carnes and Nathan Samela are both dealing with some injury setbacks. So I don't know the severity of that. It just sounds like they're working through some issues, which may linger on into opening weekend. But, you know, they've got a pretty deep group of catchers. They got a third catcher who's a JUCO, Caden Fromalt. But once again, you're looking at a couple of starters. You have 4 key starters back in Hunter Carnes, Miles Bailey, Chase Williams, Cal Fisher, who were role players last year. They were starters, but they were kind of the secondary stars, right? Now they've got to do exactly what the previous class did, Lodis and Farrow and Jackson West and Max Williams, and now they're the stars, and they've supplemented that with some key transfers there like Braden Dowd and Eli Putnam.
Yeah. Braden Dowd's a stud. I mean, an absolute stud from, again, another USC, not Oregon, USC transfer. You know, I love what he brings. I mean, Florida State really did take like some of the best players from the Big Ten this offseason, and what he did hitting 324 there at USC, you know, playing in 58 games. I mean, he, of the guys you have listed, Monty, played in the most games last season.
Yep.
I don't know if you noticed that when you were putting your little sheet together, but he made the most appearances of any any single person on this Florida State roster, at least in the lineup. So he's got plenty of experience. He's athletic. I mean, watching some of his stuff, I think he's going to be an incredible replacement out there in the outfield. And, obviously, hopefully Hunter Carnes can return pretty soon to, full health, because he's going to be a key piece if Florida State's going to make that Omaha run.
Oh, I mean, Hunter Carnes is definitely a piece of mine that I think has ACC Player of the Year potential. I mean, he went to the Cape for 17 games and was the best player in the league for 17 games. Casually dominated, had an insane 1.1 OPS, and then just 17 games, made the All-Star team, came home. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about this roster. I'm not sure who's playing shortstop. Gabe Frazier's obviously a guy there. Carter McCulley, Jace Estes can play there. Cal Fisher can play there. They've got some talented freshmen. I wouldn't be surprised if my projection here is wrong. I've got Noah Sheffield starting in left. It very well could be Brody DeLamelier, who I have as a DH, but John Stutzer could be in left field instead. Or, there's some options there. But Nick, who are you highlighting on this team?
Oh, man, I am so excited to see what Eli Putnam can do. If you look back at Drew Farrow's stats last season, great player, fantastic player, one of the key guys of that Florida State team last year. Eli played 56 games last year. Comparatively to Drew Farrow, he played 58. The batting average, Eli wins 349 to 307, and RBIs, Eli beats him by 11 RBIs, 62 to 51, I think.
Yeah, just to be clear, though, you have to remember it's ACC versus A10.
I get that. And, if Eli can put up Drew Farrow numbers from last year, then Florida State just hit the nail on the head at second base. They just basically replaced Drew Farrow. So I'm really, really excited what he can do in ACC play. I hear he's really good with the glove. So I get it's where did he come from again? FAU?
Davidson.
I'm sorry, Davidson. We just talked about FAU. Sorry, I had that in my head.
That's Trey Beard.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see what Eli Putnam can do. If he can put up similar stats to Drew Farrow from last year, man, you've got a problem solved in replacing him.
Absolutely. We got to talk about Miles Bailey, right?
Yeah, I was saying, if we don't get to Miles Bailey, we're not doing ourselves any justices here. So
yeah, of course we got to talk about him.
Also, Nick, Farrow.
I think I said Farrow.
It's not a Farrow.
He did say Farrow correctly.
I did say Farrow first, and then I said Farrow. So my bad. I did say Farrow.
I was sitting there he's got to correct himself. I can't keep listening to this.
My bad.
Miles Bailey, though, this is what he did as a freshman: 327, 11 doubles, 19 home runs, 56 RBI. The swing and miss was a concern. 76 strikeouts. Expect that to drop possibly significantly. I'm sure that's something he's working on. But expect him to have a monster sophomore year. I believe he is draft eligible, as is Hunter Carnes as sophomores. So don't get too attached to their future at Florida State. But yeah, I mean, Miles Bailey is an absolute monster. We saw him hit some monster home runs, and I'm excited to see him potentially be even better.
He was a stud at Supers, man.
I mean, he's a Golden Spikes preseason watch list guy. I don't know, did they release those? I don't know when they released those. Monty.
I don't think so.
I haven't seen that, but if he's not, up there on that list, I mean, I'd be shocked. I mean, he's just that freshman campaign was so special. And again, we've talked about it 1,000 times in these previews. I always think the freshman to sophomore jump is the one that you probably get the most from. And I mean, if he can improve off of last year, good grief, that's going to be scary.
Yeah, I believe 19 was tied for the conference lead in home runs with Max Williams and Ben Miller. I can't remember if anyone got to the number 20, but Chase Williams, another guy we got to talk about, the dynamite. I mean, that guy's an absolutely electric player. He battled some injury last year, so some of the stats maybe don't jump off the page, but 18 of 20 of stolen bases. He's probably going to lead off and run riot on the base paths.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at those projected batting orders. There it is. Chase Williams, the switch hitter, batting first, Eli Putnam second, Miles Bailey third, Cal Fisher fourth, Braden Dowd fifth, Hunter Carnes sixth, which if he's as good as he could potentially be, that's huge. Gabe Frazier seventh, Brody DeLamelier, whose full name can't fit on the graphic, and then Noah Sheffield ninth, and then there's your bench that's pretty strong as well. I mean, it's pretty good. And again, this is just my projections of the batting order. This is just kind of me throwing something together. But I really, really like the way this team looks.
Yeah, I mean, this is a unit that, I mean, again, they're going to hit, they're going to score. I mean, I don't think you're gonna beat Florida State, if you only score 2 or 3 runs against them. So again, if the starting rotation is what you think it might be, Monty, and then obviously the bullpen is what we think it is. I mean, this is going to be a very difficult out for anybody that lines up against them.
Absolutely. It's going to be absolutely nasty. Again, even if, you have to go deeper onto the bench for a little bit for, in the catching regards or what you're going to go there. I mean, Brody DeLamelier in limited time had 12 extra base hits last year, and he's batting 8th on this. So you got to feel pretty good about it. But again, you are relying on Cal Fisher, Miles Bailey, Hunter Carnes, Chase Williams to take that next step and become the dudes, with the obviously Eli Putnam and Braden Dowd being, impact transfers.
Big question. Very fun question. This is a lineup with a ton of pop. I mean, obviously Putnam had 19 last year for Davidson, talking about home runs, 19 for Bailey. We had I think it was 10 for Braden Dowd at USC. Who hits the most home runs this year, Monty, on this Florida State lineup?
Miles Bailey.
You have Bailey over Putnam?
I don't think it's going to be close.
Really? Okay. I thought it was a little bit. I mean, I didn't think Braden Dowd was going to be the answer here, but I thought maybe there might be. I mean, I know obviously Putnam, is
and don't sleep on Carnes and Fisher. I mean,
true. I mean, Fisher had 8 last year. Carnes, I mean, he had 6. So I mean,
he's got legit power though. It's just
he's
going to make.
I never really think about a 6-hole hitter with. I mean, obviously this is a projected lineup, but a 6-hole is with that much pop. But then again, it's obviously very, very plausible. So, I think Bailey. I'm curious if teams try to work around Bailey potentially, at least early on, because I mean he's just such a dangerous bat that. I mean, obviously Putnam is what he is, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm intrigued.
If you work around him, I think Cal Fisher can punish.
Yeah, Cal Fisher's waiting for you, and so is Braden Dowd. So yeah, that's probably not your best choice, but I don't know. I don't know. I thought I'd pose a fun question.
What about
ruined it by saying it's Miles Bailey by a mile? By a mile.
Nick, do you agree with me, or am I wrong?
Nick says wrong.
You're not wrong. I'd be kind of. I mean, I'm high on Eli Putnam, but I'd be kind of shocked if I mean, let's be real, guys. A second baseman outdoing a first baseman and home runs, that'd be insane. I mean, we're already talking about like the transition from A10 to ACC. So
look at that body on the left, man. Look at that swing. Look at those muscles, man. You're telling me to go against that?
His abs are literally coming out of his shirt. You can see his back muscles next to.
I know we're past the I'm not going to do that. Never mind. I was going to say we're past.
Florida State does play in 2 of the top 3 highest or like shortest dimension ballparks in the ACC with Clemson and Wake this year. So just keep that in mind, gentlemen, as well.
Absolutely.
A little extra on those numbers.
All right. The schedule. They actually finally go to California this year. But their non-conference schedule, they will play their midweek series against Florida as per usual, going to Florida, neutral, then hosting Florida. They got Stetson. They're actually leaving the state of Florida early in the season, which we don't normally see. They're going to participate in one of those tournaments with Michigan, Auburn, and Nebraska, which also somebody else from the ACC is doing, Louisville. So, exciting stuff there, and then USF. But on the ACC side, some intriguing stuff. They're coming to Virginia, which is exciting. They start conference play in Nick's backyard. And then, of course, we have their 2 biggest rivals to end the year at Clemson and versus Miami.
Yeah, I'm excited. I will get to see Florida State in February this year. I will be Again, the Friday is up in the air. I will not be able to, unfortunately, make the Florida State Auburn game on Saturday, but I will definitely be there Sunday for Florida State Nebraska, which will be a very fun one. So at least get to see Florida State once, if not maybe twice, in the month of February. So I know selfishly I'm very excited for that. But I mean, I think that Florida State Wake Forest series to me is the one I'm looking forward to, because it's going to be such a tone setter. Because again, Florida State has a very high ceiling, but I'll be the first to admit I am very hesitant on believing that Florida State is what some people, again, like I feel like they have a lot of variance. Some people think they might be the best team or one of the best teams in the ACC, and some people think not that they're like middle of the pack, but maybe a super regional at best. And obviously, I'm a known Wake Forest doubter. So if Florida State goes to Wake Forest and sweeps, I mean that's going to be massive. Even a series win would be massive, or vice versa. If Florida State goes and struggles down in Winston-Salem, then, or I guess up in their case, it would be kind of maybe not obviously the end of the season for Florida State. It's the first week of ACC play, but really does set the tone, especially when you think about like the fact that NC State comes to you the following week, which is not going to be an easy out. And again, you have a pretty difficult schedule with going to Charlottesville. I think going to Georgia Tech is going to be tough. We would have gotten the Lodi Bowl, Monty. I'm sorry that we don't get to actually have it, but
I'll be there for that anyway.
And then obviously, again, going to like their schedule is tough. I mean, at Clemson, at Virginia, I mean, that's at Georgia Tech. Those are three of the top half of the ACC teams. So going to be interesting to see how they handle that, and especially when you throw in the Wake in there too. I mean, your road ACC series is, and Stanford, of the two you would go out to California for, I think a little bit more, especially the way that ballpark plays, doesn't really scream home runs too often. So going to be interesting to see how this all plays out for Florida State.
Yeah, Nick, what do you think about this schedule?
It's very fun and it's very exciting. I think their away schedule proposes as a challenge. I mean, going to California, I mean, at Stanford, and I think all three of us are hoping Stanford improves from last year. At Clemson, at Georgia Tech, UVA, Wake, like it's a tough road conference schedule. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be tested. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think this is one of the more exciting schedules I've seen so far, or that we've previewed so far in the ACC. And even like the thing down in Arlington, Michigan, Auburn, Nebraska, you're kind of challenging yourself early on. Auburn, a super regional team last year, Nebraska, a regional team last year, Michigan has been in and out before, so I think they challenge themselves early on, and it's going to be a very fun ACC slate for sure.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. Hopefully I get a chance to see them a couple of times before Charlotte, but let's get your thoughts. Let's finish this up and talk about what you think Florida State's going to do, Micah.
This is the toughest team, I think, for me to really pick from a ceiling standpoint. Like, I've been debating back and forth on my Omaha 8, and 1 minute they're in, the next minute they're not. I don't know what to expect, because I know this lineup's going to hit. I trust this bullpen more than most bullpens in this conference. There's probably 2 or 3 bullpens that have an argument next to them. But again, I have a lot of questions on whether or not this starting pitching is going to be, I mean, again, they don't have to be last year's rotation, but they need to at least be, top half of the ACC rotation, which they have all the possibility to do. But again, a lot of question marks on whether they're going to do it. And again, we need to assume that, Braden Dowd's going to be kind of what he was at USC, and Eli Putnam was what he was at Davidson. So some question marks there. But, again, I think at the end of the day, this is a team that the expectation should be to host a regional. I mean, I think that should be the goal, to, at the bare minimum, to get things started, right, is get yourself, again, another chance to play at home in that postseason. And then, of course, I didn't realize when I put my bracketology out, but I did pair Florida State and Oregon State again together. So if Florida State were to advance, they would be going to Corvallis. Dumb on my part. I the Florida State fans that were like sending like the meme of the guy, with the helmet on, the war zone going on behind him. I'm like, yeah, my bad, Florida State fans. I didn't really process that super well, but yeah, this will be fun to kind of see what they're going to be. But I mean, this does not feel like a team that I'm worried about missing the tournament. Like, I don't see that as one of their like that their floor is not no postseason.
Of course not. Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I think ceiling, this team gets back to Omaha. I think they should have made it last year, and I think this team is I think Link Jarrett is disappointed that they didn't make it. Floor, I think 2 seed in a regional, maybe like in an SEC school or a very high seeded Big Ten or something like that, or one of those Sun Belts. But it's going to be interesting to see what Florida State does. I think they have the potential to go back to Omaha. I will be picking them to be going back to Omaha. But if they don't, would it surprise me? Not really, because, we still have to think about this rotation, how it's going to hold up. How far can the bullpen carry this team? Can their bats show up like they did last year? I mean, you're replacing a lot of stars, and they got a lot of studs through the portal, and guys that are coming back that you said, Monty, were role players that should be the stars of this team. So some question marks, but again, Link Jarrett's there. I have full trust in him. So ceiling, Omaha.
Yeah, I think the ceiling is a national championship. I don't necessarily have them going to Omaha, but I think they have a good chance of getting there. But I do believe this rotation has a chance to be one of the best in the conference. That 1-2 punch of Mendez and Beard, I'm a lot higher on than maybe Micah is based on their past production in the jump competition. But, I've seen the jump in competition and have no problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and be really high on them. I think they're gonna host a regional, and I agree with you, Nick. I think their floor is a 2 seed. So really, really high expectations for Florida State. That's about all I've got, unless you guys got something else you want to share about Florida State.
Best Sunday uniforms in college baseball. Sunday.
There you go. We'll be back on another episode tomorrow. We will be previewing Georgia Tech and the Yellow Jackets. Buzz, sting 'em. But until then, go Noles, and it just means less.